Hello, welcome back to another video. So I was just getting packed up for a shoot that we're going on tomorrow. For context, there's 4 of us going on this shoot. It's a one-day event. We're doing highlights, we're doing photography, we're doing, all of the standard stuff, interviews, B-roll, all of that. And I thought that whilst I had everything here, I've got a backpack here and I've got a giant case full of lovely kit. I thought it would be a great opportunity to kind of talk you through everything that I pack to do a kind of corporate event, right? Like I mentioned, there's 4 of us on the crew, so it's not just me, but this kit does kind of reflect pretty much what we choose to bring on site every single time. There's a couple of different things that we might change in and out depending on the actual type of event, the deliverables, that sort of thing. But generally, this is kind of what the kit looks like. And I thought that it was a really good opportunity to just kind of talk you through everything now that I've got it all lovely and laid out and packed, because it doesn't always look like this, right? So I've got this silly little action cam on just here. You can see my POV just like this. I'm going to kind of talk you through, like I said, just the backpack that I've got over here, and then also the giant case that is down there as well. So let's dive into it, and we'll start with the backpack. So if I just adjust this just slightly so you can see, it's wobbling around on my chest, and there's not really a lot I can do about it. So if you're displeased with the POV angle, I am sorry, but it is what it is. Anyway, let's dive into the backpack just here. So first thing, and the main camera that I'm shooting with at the moment is the Sony A75. The reason why I personally choose to have this camera is because I do get booked for photography jobs every now and then. So it's important that my main camera can not only be full frame, can be 4K, can do also that 4K 50 frames, so half speed slow-mo, uncropped, right? Really, really important, and a really lovely reason why I like the A75. 8000 ISO was the second base as well, is literally perfect. Like, my biggest complaint with the FX3 was that 12.8 was always just too much. It always had to like ND down on 12.8, whereas at 8000, I feel like it's the perfect mid-range for most of the lighting conditions that we have in venues in the UK. And you might need to stop down on the aperture kind of every now and then, but for the most part, you don't need to ND when you're going to that second base ISO, which makes total sense to me. And I really like this camera. I've only recently just picked it up. I've done a couple of shoots with it so far, and I've, the 7K sensor downsampled to 4K. The images are just stunning. They are so beautiful. It actually reminded me, I was editing a video this morning and going through some footage, and it actually reminds me very much of the image quality that we were getting out of the Blackmagic 6K Pro. And I think the reason for that is because of that kind of enhanced resolution that's then downsampling into a 4K image. Obviously the 6K Pro, we used to shoot 6K, but then edit into 4K and then HD, whereas this one's doing it in camera. Anyway, let's roll things along. Over here to the right of the camera, I've got the Rode wireless microphone system, and this is obviously houses all of the microphones, and then in here I have a pair of headphones and the adapters and the lavs and everything like that. So kind of a 2-case kit, and just slots really nicely just down in here as well. Next to that, we have a 50mm 1.4 from Sigma, so Sigma Art 50mm 1.4. And now that I'm saying this, I actually am going to swap this out for a 18-35 1.8. Now this is an APS-C lens, and I'll talk about why I'm using that in a second, but basically I don't need this. I was just reviewing the kit list kind of when I was getting packed, so I'm going to pack the 18-35 instead. That's a Canon lens, by the way. So interestingly enough, I used to shoot Blackmagic. You can see my Blackmagic cameras up there, or maybe you can, I don't know. But yeah, I used to shoot Blackmagic. Obviously, that's a cropped Super 35. So the 18-35 was a Magic lens on there, and for this, we actually use that lens primarily with the Sony FX30, and I'll talk through that in a second. Let me just pop this back. So yeah, second camera body in here is the FX30. Now, this has a Sigma 24-70 on it at the moment, but what we do with interviews this is purely just an interview camera, right? Which is lovely to have. Originally, I bought the FX30 as like a YouTube content sort of camera, just designed to like live either in the office or kind of with me just as like a vlogging setup. But more and more, as I've used it, it has become the main interview cam that we use, paired with that Sigma 18-35 1.8, which with the cropped sensor would be, I don't know, maybe like a 28 to 50 something ish. You can do the maths, but the 1.8 aperture is actually kind of where it really shines because of that because of the APS-C sensor, obviously you don't get as nice a depth of field as you do with a full frame sensor, but it doesn't make sense to have kind of a full frame camera just locked off on a tripod doing interviews all day. So that's where the FX30 comes in, that's where it shines. Paired up with the 18-35 lens just here is a magic combination. This is most of the interviews that we do is on this setup, and it just stays fixed all day, doesn't move, lovely lighting, so I'm not concerned about any ISO or noise, and it's just a perfect interview camera. I really, really love it for interviews. Next thing, moving through the backpack just here is a bag of batteries. So this is Sony batteries, there's a Fuji battery in there as well for the X106, and then some headset batteries, and then underneath that, I don't know if you can see, let me tilt this thing down just here. But we have 3 MPF batteries which power the monitor and other little bits that we might use. So that's basically kind of batteries, and then also I'll put the Pocket 3 case in there as well, so it just sits lovely in there, but obviously I'm using it to record this video right now. Last thing in this case is kind of like a little charging station at the back. So you can see I've got this Anker power brick. This thing is fantastic, by the way. Paired with another unit, which I think is upstairs on my desk. It's just phenomenal for traveling and charging bits. So I have a pack of cables just here. These are all USB-C cables, apart from this one, which is USB-A to USB-C, and then the headset charger, the Sony charger, and the MPF 9, I think they're 970s, but yeah, all of those live in there as well. So that's just kind of, and then obviously I'll pop the power brick in here, and that's kind of everything to go. Only other things that are going to be in this backpack, I have a case full of SD cards just here. That will also have a couple of hard drives, so a couple of SSDs for us to drop footage. That will be in there. And then up here is basically where the Osmo Nano is going to go. So this is a phenomenal little POV camera. I really, really love this camera. You would have seen it, like, it's what I use for the majority of the vlogs that I do now. But that'll live up there, just kind of its own self-contained little thing up in the corner. So that is everything for the backpack. What I want to say about the backpack specifically is, like, the way that I think about it in my head. You know, I'm traveling tonight, I'm going to go stay in a hotel, and when you're staying overnight, you always run the risk of, you know, touch wood, it's never happened to me before, but you know, I've heard it happen to other people, either getting broken into, things being stolen, kind of having a bit more of a target on your back when you're carrying around like massive cases, like clearly like they've got expensive stuff in, because nobody buys a case that looks like that if it hasn't got something expensive in, right? So my idea with the backpack is basically, like, I have everything that I need to, one, get stuff charged and ready overnight. So that's like the microphones, the cameras, the batteries, the headsets, everything like that, right? So it's got all of my charging requirements in it, but also everything that I could possibly need to actually go and do the shoot without all of this extra lovely stuff that just adds to the production. Like, this is kind of the core bag, right? Like, if I turn up with just this, I can do something, I can make a fantastic video, right? You know, we might just position interviews by windows for natural light. Like, the footage won't really, kind of the B-roll won't really be affected, other than like gimbals and handheld rigs, which I'll talk through in a second. But generally, if we just turned up with this, we would have kind of everything that we need to baseline make a video. And that's really important, because I will leave this case in the car overnight. I'm not gonna not gonna take this into the hotel because it weighs like 50 kilo. But if anything ever did happen to this case, which, like I said, touch wood, it never has, but if it did, it would be annoying, but we can always kind of sort rental. We could get somebody to drop some stuff off and have kind of lighting and power and that sort of stuff, which is all in here. So that's just what I want to say about the backpack. Other than that, I'll put my laptop in here as well. So it's got a nice little compartment just there, just for your laptop. And that is it. That's the backpack. It's got cameras, it's got microphones, it's got batteries, it's got laptop, like I said, power, SD cards, like all of that sort of stuff, basically. So that is that. Now, let's move on to the beautiful Nanuk hard case that you see behind me, and I'll talk through all of the little bits and bobs that I've got in there that just add to the production and add to all of the kit that we're bringing. All right, so the hard case. This is a beautiful thing. I know that these cases are expensive, and it took me so long to kind of bite the bullet and invest in a hard case. It's one of those things where, same as storage, right? Same as data, like, it's a hard thing to spend money on because it doesn't really do anything for you, but after you buy it, you realize actually how much it does do for you. So this is a Nanuk 963. Or you can see I've started stickering it up, you know, I'm waiting, it'll take years to get this thing looking good. But I basically went for the full kind of, I don't know what they call it, like the photo pack or something like that. I don't know, but it basically includes like the lid organizer, as well as then like this kind of bigger, almost camera case compartment with all of these tie downs and everything that you could ever want to kind of pack out your kit and stuff like that. So let's walk through it kind of bit by bit. Up here at the start, like I said, sorry about this POV angle, but it's the best thing that I've got right now. Anyway, up at the top, starting off at the top left just here, I have a pencil case, and there's nothing too exciting in these bits. We've got some spare tripod plates, so if I ever am in need of a spare tripod plate, I've always got more in the case just here. Over here on the right hand side, I've got a bag of Allen keys, I've got a Leatherman multi-tool, and then also the Small Rig multi-tool as well. This thing's fantastic, and then if this doesn't have the bits I need, then this definitely will, and if this doesn't have the bits I need, or the you know, the size of Allen key that I need, then I've got a bag of Allen keys as well. So every single size of Allen key that you could ever want. I wish that camera companies would all get together and standardize the size of their Allen keys, but alas, they haven't just yet. So we move. Moving down here, we have my monitor. So this is a VLOG monitor. Really like this. Really, it's kind of more of a reference for me. I don't use a monitor as like an external recorder. I just like to have a bigger screen that I can reference from. Like I said, I came from a Blackmagic 6K Pro background, so I'm used to having that lovely like 5-inch screen. So when I switched over to the Sony system, that was kind of one of the massive things. I was like, I can't really see anything, right? Or you can't see too many details. So I've just got a monitor just there. If I'm filming by myself, that's the main monitor that I use. If I'm doing interviews like I will be most of the day tomorrow, then it purely just acts as a reference for me to be able to see and just glance over and know that people are still in focus and their audio is not clipping, etc., right? Moving through down here, I have basically, I'm not going to get this out, but I have like DC power for the Sony cameras. So that will be the FX30 tomorrow, basically just on the floor all day, or sorry, plugged into the wall all day, because like there's no need to just cycle through batteries when I can just plug it in. Over here we have some of these cheap little clips, right? They're just really useful to have in the bag, just in case you ever need them, right? In case you never need to clamp anything or fix anything like that, and a roll of tape. If you have those two, like you tend to be pretty well covered in terms of kind of being able to shitty rig stuff together, right? And then we've just got some step up rings and step down rings down in there as well. Again, just really useful to have. Forgot to mention, actually, in the backpack, there is also an ND filter. It's just tucked away at the back. That's why I didn't see it. All right, so that's kind of the stuff in the lid organizer. Let's go down to the exciting stuff down here. So in these, underneath these tie downs, I'm not going to get it all out, but this is just like loads and loads of rigging bits. You can see we've got like top handles, there's shoulder plates, there's rods, there's loads of different bits in there, focus wheels, like iPhone attachments, just everything that I could possibly need to rig something up is in there. Just down here, we've got a couple of, what do you call these? Like pop filters for the stick mics that we use. Stick mics are also in there as well, like obviously just the adapters, not the actual microphones. And then there's some spare lens caps underneath there. So that's kind of like, this side is kind of like a chuck it, you know, like a just launch it all in sort of pocket, just for everything that's like tiny, and it would be a nightmare if we tried to organize all of that stuff. Moving over, we have 2 extension leads. I might put another extension lead in here as well if I can find space for it. But yeah, basically, like, you know, it goes without saying, you need power. You need to be able to get your power wherever you need it. And this is mostly for lighting, to be honest. You know, I'll put one of these underneath the FX30, but mostly it's for lighting. Up here, we have 4 of the Hollyland headsets. These things are phenomenal. I love these things. They run on those tiny little batteries that you saw earlier in the backpack. And yeah, like they're just brilliant. The signal goes forever. They allow the team to communicate when they might be in different rooms and different levels and different floors. And if I'm doing an interview with somebody and I need to know where somebody is, it's much easier to use these things than it is to text them on WhatsApp and wait for them to respond, right? So that's there. Just absolutely fantastic. I love those things. I really love them. Moving on, here we have basically a backdrop for a kind of like a headshot studio type thing. that's one thing that we're doing tomorrow. I don't really want to go into too much detail about it. It's basically just like a complimentary headshot studio that the client is paying for, so that everybody that comes to the event can get lovely headshots and update all of their LinkedIn profiles. So that's just a neutral gray. That's the standard one that we use. And unless people want like a branded one or one that fits their brand colors, then the neutral gray is what we go for, because no matter the skin tone, you're not going to bleed into the background, right? If you have a white one and you have a really light-skinned person, then they begin to bleed, and then the same the other way as well. Moving down, we've got kind of, we're moving into lighting now. So a huge roll of black gaff tape, again, really useful, and you never know when you're gonna need it. Some colored gaff tape just here, and this is the fluorescent ones. So orange, blue, green, pink, yellow, really, really useful for either marking. You know, if we've got, like we will tomorrow, we have tons of cameras flying around, so it can be useful to kind of like mark who's who. Can be useful for putting them on microphones, all that sort of stuff. And then also some, what would you call this, like masking tape. So if we don't want to use the gaffer tape and it doesn't matter that it's like not like professional tape basically, then I'll use this. This could be like marking floor or anything like that, right? So loads of different kind of tape, just gaff and colors and that sort of thing. And one thing that I do, that I haven't seen anyone do, is basically zip tie it, right? So there's like 4 zip ties just here, and it helps to keep all of your rolls of tape together just like that. And you can hook them over like C-stands. You can hook them onto like the back of your tripod, whatever you want to do basically. It's just useful to have them all just like that together. All right. We're moving into kind of the main lighting bits now, like I mentioned. So this is the stand attachment for the Amaran Ray. And then I have under here, you can see, I have the Amaran Ray 120, and that comes with a little 30 centimeter softbox attached to it. It's a great little light, RGB, runs on V-mount. Runs on powered through USB-C if you want to do that, or you can just plug it in, which is what we do. But yeah, it's just really little versatile light, and it's so lightweight that you can use like one of these cheapy little light stands. And like if you're doing Vox Pops, let's say, or you're doing kind of interviews where you're moving around a lot, then that is just a brilliant light to have. Other than that, we have the Amaran 300C. This is the main light that I use if we're kind of up against it with natural light, or, you know, we're by a window or something like that. 300 watts in full RGB as well. So it's just brilliant, just a great lightweight. It's cheap, so it doesn't matter if it kind of goes in a bag and gets bunged around and stuff like that. But so far, it's the only one I've bought, and it's absolutely brilliant. Final little bits is basically just the power. I'm not going to get all this out, but it's the power for the Amaran Ray, and then also the 300C just here. And that is it. We powered through it. So these little tie downs just here, basically like anything that could kind of like with loads of little bits, like the rigging, like the tape and that, I just tie it all down, and helps to keep it all in one place. So that is it. That is all of my kit. Let me take this thing off to record the outro. Good catch, eh? Yeah, that's it. That's all of my kit, right? As you can see, it's a pretty comprehensive kit, but one thing that we've really focused on, when I say we, it's myself and then the freelance team that we tend to use on site when we're in the UK, we tend to use the same people. All that we've focused on over the past kind of 18 months, probably like nearly 2 years at this point, is reducing the amount of kit that we need to bring to site. Like, I totally get it. If you're in the commercial world and you can turn up with a van and you've got a day of lighting prep and all of that sort of stuff, it makes sense to have 600Ds, 300Ds, right? Big C-stands, big lighting cases, stuff like that. And that's just not the reality when it comes to the world of events. Like, you have to move fast, you have to be quick, nimble. Typically the loading process is like half an hour, right? So for me, basically all I need to bring to have all of my kit is like one case and one backpack. And then obviously like I will bring like C-stand, a small lightweight stand for the Amaran light. I'll bring a tripod, I'll bring a monopod, stuff like that, which will just go in the car and can kind of be just like walked in. But in terms of like, you know, if we had to go up any stairs, if we have to like carry the cases, XYZ, like you just never know what you're going to come up against when it comes to the load-in process. And just having like a really simple, straightforward, and an easy setup and lightweight setup is just like, I can't tell you like how much time, effort, and just kind of like general headspace it all saves. So that is it. That's my kit. That's what we typically typically bring. Like I mentioned at the start, there will be 4 of us on this event tomorrow, which means that this isn't the only kit that's going to be there, right? Michael will come and basically bring exactly the same as what I've got. Jack will come and bring an extra camera and a couple of lenses, and a gimbal. Taylor will come and bring all of his photography equipment. Like there's a ton of stuff that we're going to have at this shoot, but this is basically my contribution to it as well. So hopefully that has been useful for you. Hopefully you got something out of this. You know, maybe packed your bag in a different way. Maybe it's giving you some ideas of stuff that you maybe don't need to bring, right? If you're doing these kind of projects. I think that, like, I know I spent ages packing like every single piece of kit I possibly had for every eventuality, and then realizing that I only ended up using 1 camera and 1 lens and 1 light the entire shoot, right? So it takes a minute to kind of get used to that, but once you do and you realize that you can get away with kind of a smaller, more lightweight kit, even if you're doing solo jobs, then yeah, it really helps. It really, really helps. So I'm going to stop rambling. I'm going to stop going on. Hopefully it was useful for you, and I'll see you very soon. Take care.